You're covered in blood that isn't yours. The world is ending. And the person next to you just passed out. Congratulations, you're a doctor now. Doesn't matter if 5 minutes ago you were trying to remember how to make instant noodles without burning the pot. Now you have exactly 180 seconds to decide if this person wakes up or becomes a statistic. And before you ask, yes, there's a difference between fainting and death. One is temporary. The other, well, you'll figure out which is which in a bit if you pay attention. But calm down. Breathe. Or better yet, make sure they are breathing first, because here's the secret nobody tells you. Most preventable deaths happen in the first 60 seconds. Not from lack of resources, from panic, from indecision, from people thinking calling for help solves it when the help is you, and there's something else. That instinct to shake the person, yell their name, throw water on their face. Every second wasted doing theater is one less second of oxygen reaching the brain. And a brain without oxygen isn't like a dead battery, doesn't recharge, dies, cell by cell. Irreversible. If you want to survive the chaos that's coming, hit that like now. Because the algorithm doesn't care if you're having a nervous breakdown, and if you don't subscribe to this channel, well, at least you'll die uninformed. Choices. Oh, and there's something about fainting you need to know before continuing. Something that can completely change what you're going to do in the next few minutes. But that comes later. First, you need to understand why people faint. And why, sometimes, they never wake up again. Because not all fainting is created equal. Some are the body screaming technical pause. Others are the body giving up. And you need to know the difference before touching anything. The difference between sleeping and dying. Look, I know it seems obvious, but in the apocalypse, nothing is obvious. Person passed out on the ground. First question, are they breathing? No. Seriously, are they? Because if they're not, you have a completely different problem, and in 4 minutes, that problem will have a first and last name, irreversible brain damage. In 6 minutes, clinical death. In 10 minutes, you're doing CPR on a corpse out of pure stubbornness. The human brain is an incredibly demanding organ. Represents the percent of body weight, but consumes 20% of oxygen. When the supply cuts off, it doesn't negotiate, doesn't give warning, simply starts self-destructing. How to check without going crazy? Bring your ear close to their mouth, nose. Look at the chest. Does it rise and fall? Listen. Air going in, out. Feel the air on your cheek. You have 10 seconds for this check, not 15. Not I'll just make sure. 10. If nothing happens, start CPR immediately. Don't argue. Don't think. Do it, because every second of hesitation is millions of neurons saying goodbye. But if they are breathing, then you have classic fainting, and fainting has causes. Finding the cause equals saving the life. Now comes the part that separates improvisers from survivors. Type of breathing matters. Normal breathing, rhythmic, silent, chest rising smoothly. Okay, you have time. Agonal breathing, irregular, gasping, like a fish out of water. That is not functional breathing. That's the brain desperately trying to restart the system. CPR. Now, fast and shallow breathing. Shock, pain, physiological panic, slow and deep breathing, possible overdose, brain trauma, hypothermia, visual metaphor. Think of a car that died, engine off. Could be the battery, could be gas, could be the spark plug wire. You don't throw gas at a battery problem, get it? Wrong diagnosis equals wrong treatment equals quick death. What can kill you here, assuming that fainted, will wake up? People die because they fell the wrong way. Because the fall wasn't the problem, it was the symptom of something worse: stroke, cardiac arrest, hypovolemic shock. And here's the first secret I promised: not all fainting is equal. There's the sorry. I skipped breakfast fainting, and the rest of my body is shutting down vital functions. Because something went very wrong fainting. One resolves in 30 seconds with leg elevation, the other resolves in a surgery room, or never resolves. You're going to learn the difference, but before that, there's something about body positioning that can save or kill. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is in the next step. Final phrase, they're breathing. But for how long? The survival protocol OR, position matters more than you think. Step 2, don't move them, not yet. Your instinct will scream, lift this person up, ignore it. Well-intentioned people kill more than zombies. It's statistics. Seriously, look it up later. Death from inadequate victim movement. The numbers are scary, because when you move someone unconscious without assessment, you can turn a spinal fracture into paralysis, dislodge a clot, causing embolism, worsen internal bleeding, cause fatal blood pressure drop. So, breathe and follow the protocol. Here's the real protocol. Check the environment first. Fire, gas, imminent collapse. Active shooter, if yes, drag, hold by the shoulders, keep spine straight. Pull if there's no immediate danger, leave them on the ground. The ground is your friend, gravity is your ally, blood flows to the brain, person can't fall again. Look for obvious injuries, blood coming from where it shouldn't, bone showing, limbs at angles that defy human anatomy. Congratulations! You have trauma plus fainting. Priorities change, trauma always comes first. Control bleeding. Stabilize obvious fractures, then worry about the fainting. Assess spinal trauma. Did the person fall from height, hit their head, violent accident? Assume cervical injury until proven otherwise. Means, don't turn them, don't move them. Just stabilize the head with your hands. No obvious trauma. Proceed to recovery position. Recovery position, if there's no suspected spinal trauma, turn the person on their side. Prevents them from choking on vomit. Tongue is a silent killer. Unconscious person loses muscle control, tongue relaxes, blocks airway. Death by asphyxiation in minutes. How to do the recovery position without turning into a butcher. Kneel beside the person, check if there's nothing in pockets that could hurt, knife, glass, etc. Arm closest to you, extended above their head. Opposite arm, cross it over the chest, opposite leg. Bend knee 90 degrees, pull by the bent leg. Rolling the person toward you, smooth, continuous movement, adjust the head back, chin up. Keeps airway open, make sure mouth is pointing down, vomit drains out. Not in details nobody mentions, the hand of the upper arm should be under the cheek. Keeps head stable. Prevents rolling face down. The bent leg works like a motorcycle kickstand, prevents them from rolling onto their back. If they start vomiting, you just adjust them slightly forward. Gravity does the rest. Visual metaphor. Imagine a crash test dummy. You don't throw it in the seat, you position it carefully. Logically, because every movement matters. What can kill? Turning someone with cervical trauma abruptly equals paralysis. Leaving them on their back equals asphyxiation from vomit. Happens fast, silent, fatal. Lifting to quickly equals blood pressure drop, double fainting, secondary head trauma. Then you have the people on the ground. Remember I said there was something crucial about positioning. Here it is. Gravity is your ally or your enemy. Unconscious person lying down equals blood goes to the brain, cerebral perfusion maintained. Chance of recovery, person sitting, standing equals brain runs out of fuel, fainting worsens, or happens again. That's why you don't lift them, that's why you leave them lying down until they wake up completely. And completely means able to answer questions, move all limbs, sit without dizziness for 5 minutes. But what if they don't wake up into minutes? Then the story changes. And you need to know what comes next, because 2 minutes of unconsciousness is the medical cutoff point. Before that, probably simple syncope. After that, something more sinister. Final phrase, wrong position equals comfortable grave. Step 3. Fainting is never random, everything has a reason, including collapses. You need to identify which one is attacking. Hypovolemic shock bleeding, it's when the body doesn't have enough blood to maintain pressure. Can be external hemorrhage, you see it, or internal, you don't see it. But the person dies just the same. Person is pale lips, nails, inside of eyelids cold, clammy sweat, fast and shallow breathing, cold skin to the touch, confusion before fainting. If they were conscious, abdomen palpate gently. Look for rigidity, distension. Pelvis press lightly on hip bones. Pain equals possible fracture with internal hemorrhage, thorax penetrating wound, broken ribs. Thigh femur fracture can bleed to liters internally. External bleeding, direct compression, firm pressure. Don't keep removing it to see. If it stopped, elevate legs 30 centimeters, improves venous return. Keep warm blanket, jacket, body contact. Hypothermia worsens coagulation. If internal bleeding, pressure on the area, supine position, pray, because without surgery, the odds are bad. Hypoglycemia, lack of sugar, brain runs on glucose. Without glucose, it shuts down. Simple as that. Tremors, sweating, but skin still has color, confusion, aggression before fainting. Clammy skin, fast but strong pulse. If conscious, sugar under the tongue dissolves fast, sublingual absorption, honey, soda, any simple carbohydrate. If unconscious, nitrogen monoxide, food in the mouth, 0, you'll cause asphyxiation. Wait for them to wake up, put them in recovery position. When they come back, then give sugar. Professional trick, rubbing honey on the gums works, oral absorption, but it's slow, better than nothing. Dehydration, heat stroke, body is 60% water, lose too much, system collapses. Dehydration, cold, clammy skin, cracked lips, no tears, no saliva, dark urine if still urinating, heat stroke, hot. And dry skin, no longer sweating, elevated body temperature, extreme confusion, dehydration, hydrate gradually when they wake up. To fast equals vomiting equals worsening. Heat stroke, emergency, cool gradually, cold water not ice on wrists, neck, armpits, groin. Ventilation, goal, lower body temperature without causing thermal shock. Vasovagal syncope, the classic. Fainting, vagus nerve overstimulated, pressure drops, brain temporarily shuts down. It's literally the body saying I need a break. Obvious trigger, saw blood, received bad news, got up to fast. Hot, crowded environment, quick recovery under 1 minute, no injuries, no bleeding, no other symptoms. Elevate legs 30 to 45 degrees. Wait, this is the safest of fainting types. Body just reset, like rebooting the router. Doesn't need treatment beyond rest, but watch for recurrence. Cardiac arrest, stroke, the worst scenario. It's not fainting, it's system failure. Cardiac arrest, no pulse, immediate unconsciousness, skin turns gray, bluish quickly, asymmetric face, ass to smile, one side doesn't move, arm doesn't lift or drops when trying to hold, slurred, confused speech, may have normal pulse and breathing, but neurologically compromised. Cardiac arrest, immediate CPR, repeat until help arrives or person returns. Spoiler, help won't arrive in the apocalypse, so you don't stop. Hands on center of chest, use body weight, not muscle strength. Compressions break ribs, normal, better broken ribs than dead brain. Recovery position affected, side up. Don't give food, water, may have difficulty swallowing. Note the time matters a lot in strokes. Even without a hospital, keep calm, watch for deterioration. Visual metaphor, 5 bombs, giving sugar to someone having a stroke. Aspiration, worsening, thinking vasovagal syncope is just a scare when there's hidden trauma. Or cardiac arrhythmia. Final phrase, 5 causes, 1 life. 0 margin for error. They're still unconscious. You've already done the basics, positioned, identified probable cause, stabilized what you could. Now begins the hard part, keeping them that way until they wake up. Because in the apocalypse, there's no ambulance arriving in 8 minutes. Could take hours, days, or never, so you become the ambulatory ICU. And ICU isn't passive, it's constant monitoring plus continuous adjustments. Maintenance protocol, reassessment every 2 minutes, not a suggestion, it's mandatory. Pulse changed, respiration regular, depth, skin color pale equals worsening, rosy equals improving, bluish equals critical oxygenation, temperature touch forehead, neck bleeding still controlled, increased, level of consciousness moans, movements nothing, note mentally or literally, if you have paper, because memory under stress is garbage. Hydration when possible, if they wake up but dizzy, water. Small sips, 30 milliliters every 5 minutes. Don't let them choke. If they vomit, stop. Wait 10 minutes. Try again. If unconscious, nothing in the mouth. 0. Not water. Not sugar. Not just a little bit. You're not a doctor with a nasogastric tube. You're someone who can cause fatal aspiration. Exception, if confirmed hypoglycemia and you have glucose gel. You can rub it on the inner gum, oral absorption, but it's risky. Thermal control. Cold, blankets, extra clothes, body contact. Put them between 2 warm bodies if possible, closed environment, protected from wind, warm. Gradually thermal shock is real heat, immediate shade, ventilation fan, create air current. Cold water not icy on wrists, neck, armpits, groin, remove unnecessary clothing, maintain dignity. But prioritize survival goal, lower 1 to 2 degrees Celsius every 10 minutes, not faster. Continuous positioning, recovery position. Always, unless you need to do CPR or their spinal trauma, check every 5 minutes if they haven't rolled to dangerous position. If they start vomiting, can happen without waking, make sure they're turned correctly. Vomit drains out, not into lung. Mental documentation, time they fainted, initial symptoms. Observed changes. Treatments attempted, if, when they wake up, or when you find another person who can help. You'll need to report, and I don't know. They fainted doesn't help anyone. Warning signs, when to stop waiting. Some signs say, this won't improve on its own. Seizures, involuntary movements, rigidity. Eyes rolling, protect the head, don't hold the person. Let it pass. After, recovery position. If it lasts over 5 minutes, it's status epilepticus, very serious. Vomiting blood, not blood from mouth injury, blood from stomach dark, like coffee grounds or fresh blood, indicates active internal bleeding. Blood coming from ears, nose without trauma, skull fracture, cerebrospinal fluid leak. Extremely serious, different size pupils, one eye with large pupil, other small. Sign of intracranial pressure. Stroke, brain trauma, agonal breathing, not breathing, it's death reflex, looks like choking. Irregular, desperate, start CPR, neck rigidity, try to bend head to chest, won't go, rigid muscles. Could be meningitis or cerebral hemorrhage. Any of these equals the clock accelerates dramatically. So, you did it. They're alive, or not, but you tried, and at the end of the world, trying is already a victory. Here's the truth nobody tells you about saving lives. There are no guarantees. You can do everything right, perfect position, precise diagnosis, impeccable monitoring, and lose because there was internal bleeding you couldn't see, because it was a brain aneurysm, because the heart simply decided to stop and didn't want to come back. And you can do everything half wrong, initial panic, hesitation, desperate improvisation, and win. Because it was simple syncope. Because the body wanted to cooperate. Because, sometimes, luck matters more than technique. The difference between hero and witnesses. Frequently, luck, but knowledge changes the probabilities. Transforms luck from 10% to 40%, from 40% to 70%, and 70% in the apocalypse. That's practically a miracle. You now know. Differentiate fainting from death in the first 10 seconds. Position without causing additional damage. Diagnose 5 main causes with 0 equipment. Monitor vitals using only hands and eyes. Keep someone alive during impossible weight. Manage awakening without causing fatal recurrence. And most important, you know when to panic. Because controlled panic equals quick decisions equals immediate action equals lives saved. Uncontrolled panic equals paralysis. Equals hesitation equals another body. Remember that opening loop from the beginning. About the crucial difference between temporary fainting and postponed death. Here it is. Time. Fainting from vasovagal syncope. Person wakes in 20 to 60 seconds. System reset. All good. Fainting from hypovolemic shock. You have minutes, maybe 10, maybe 30, to control bleeding and stabilize. After that, organ damage. Multiple failure. Death. Fainting from cardiac arrest. 4 to 6 minutes until permanent brain damage. 10 minutes until clinical death. You're fighting against implacable biological clock. And that triad of death I mentioned, hypothermia plus acidosis plus coagulopathy. In terms you'll recognize, cold body plus strange breathing, smell metabolic acidosis, plus bleeding. That won't clot. When you see all three together, even modern ICU has difficulty, alone. In the apocalypse, science has already given up, but you still try. Because in the apocalypse, miracles happen. Rarely, but they happen, and when they happen, it's usually because someone refused to give up. So next time someone falls in front of you, you won't freeze, won't scream, won't run looking for help that doesn't exist. You'll kneel, check, breathing 10 seconds, position recovery position, head back, diagnose pulse, skin, symptoms, context, stabilize control bleeding, adjust temperature, elevate legs, monitor every 2 minutes. Without exception, awaken slowly, gradually, safely, fight, and maybe when the dust settles, and the blood dries and the sun rises again, you'll still have someone to share the last can of beans with, or not. But at least you'll know you made the difference between died unconscious and died fighting. Between passive surrender and active resistance. Between powerless witness and functional survivor, and at the end of the world. That's already something. Actually, it's everything. Because the only real difference between those who die early and those who survive another day isn't physical strength, isn't weapons, isn't supplies, it's knowledge. It's knowing what to do when everything goes wrong. It's being the person others look for when someone falls. It's becoming the improvised doctor of a world without doctors. And now you are.